By a stroke of some really good luck, I found both of these DVDs at a local Salvation Army. At first, I thought they were movies, until I took a look at the back of each one of them. And I noticed that it said episodes, which is probably for the best because I believe the runtime on this disc said over 3 hours, and this one is just about 2.5 offhand. So it'd be interesting to kind of see the origins that inspired the madness that is the secret of Mamo. I figure I'm gonna watch what I would assume is the first episode called The Return of Lupin III, since there was a Green Jacket series before that, which didn't really find a lot of success. However, the Red Jacket series, as this would later become called, found immense success. And I figure that's the episode that it would start with. And I'm just gonna watch it and react to it a little bit. Obviously, this is going to be black and white due to copyright issues, and I will not be showing the whole episode. Without further ado, let's begin. Well, this main menu is certainly a lot better than what the DVD would lead you to believe. I can only think of when they had that giant tanker scene in The Mystery of Mamo whenever I hear this piece. Somehow just that tiny little Mini Cooper flying away from like a skyscraper of a four-wheeler. Okay. That's definitely inspired from Vertigo, that much I can be sure of. Gotta love YouTube. Well, I think Garnet said it best. I'm not gonna follow your rules. Come at me with your fancy tools. Let's go, just me and you. I thought in getting the Mystery of Mamo up, I was hoping that this was going to be a piece of cake, but what am I talking about? You've heard this story 1,000 times. Why should I tell it again? Well, since I can't show any footage, I figure I might as well just talk about the first episode. We start with the famous theme song that introduces all the characters, as well as all their special abilities. I still can't tell which is more smoking hot, Fujiko or the MP40 she fires in this sequence. The episode starts with seeing where all the different characters are. Goemon has gone to Hong Kong in order to sharpen his combat skills. Jigen has gone to Australia to sharpen his sharpshooting skills. And Fujiko is conning men with her, shall we say, feminine ways. This is then followed by her going into the shower and seeing her about 75% naked again. I get the idea she's hot, but I guess maybe I'm just a little more modest, but is this just a requirement that we have to have a scene where Fujiko is taking a shower in full view of both of those breasts? Well, anyway, she puts on a towel and receives a message from Lupin inviting her to go on a cruise. A very similar message is given to Goemon and Jigen. On the cruise, they all meet up, although Lupin does not seem to be there. He wants to make an entrance, being the big show-offy person he is, and parachute onto the main deck. Unfortunately, he misses and lands right in the smokestack. At the dining hall, that is where they all get reacquainted. It appears that it's been 5 years since the whole gang has been together. I'm gonna guess that's about the period of time from the Green Jacket series to the Red Jacket series. It just seems like such an arbitrary number otherwise. There, Lupin states that he did not send any of these letters, and even he got a letter very similar. So as they're going back and forth, Zenigata shows up with a warrant for Lupin's arrest. However, much like the letters, this turns out to be a forgery as well. While Lupin and Zenigata are arguing about this, Jigen notices that the ceiling is starting to get a little lower. Luckily, everybody is able to get out of the way, except for a few innocent civilians, before the ceiling comes crashing down on their table. This excitement seems to rattle Jigen's teeth a little bit, so he goes over to the dental office. This is another thing to mention as well. So this cruise ship is basically just Las Vegas with seagulls. It has everything. A football field, a ski jump, a mall, a bank. Basically, it's just its own floating civilization. And a dental office doesn't seem all that far-fetched. We find that this dental office is top of the line and all done with machines. Before Jigen is able to go on, there is one passenger that has an even bigger emergency than him and takes the chair. Unfortunately, this turns out to be another trap as a poisonous snake slides out of the machine. Jigen is able to shoot it, but I don't think that this innocent passenger made it, as you can snake has bitten his nose, and the poison has probably already killed him. Meanwhile, Goemon is going to get a massage, but halfway through his masseuse is replaced with a big buff guy ready to break his neck. However, Goemon, being an expert in his form of fighting, is able to subdue the guard without too much effort. Lupin and Fujiko are both waiting by the pool. Lupin notices that the pool is full of sharks. Lupin is just barely able to save Fujiko at the cost of his butt being bitten. Well, they all meet up back at the apartment where Fujiko tends to Lupin's wounds, and the rest of the group try to form a plan of attack. Just then, there's footsteps approaching the door, when Goemon takes out his sword and completely destroys it, only to find a petrified mailman with a simple message. The message? They were all invited to an elegant dinner show, with an odd little insignia at the bottom. At the dinner, Lupin recognizes the insignia as the Scorpion. With this information, the Scorpion reveals himself. He takes the table that all of them are sitting at and sucks him down to the lower deck, very similar to a James Bond villain here. Here, the Scorpion proceeds to go into his backstory. 5 years ago, there's that lucky number again, Lupin and his crew completely destroyed the Scorpion's very expensive raceway. He just barely survives. However, being super rich and out for vengeance, he basically turns himself into the $6 million man. So assured that he is going to win, he supplies the gang with every single weapon imaginable to take him out. Nothing seems to work. However, Fujiko and Lupin are able to come up with a pretty good plan. Essentially, they start a small fire, which sets off the sprinkler system, and then, while he's covered with water, Lupin shoots out one of the electric lights to illuminate this battle arena into the water and is electrocuted. However, being practically invincible, he is still breathing. So as one last act of vengeance, he self-destructs the entire boat by a little switch on his back molar. Everyone is able to make it out alive except for Zenigata. However, off on the horizon, you hear his voice, and the chase is on once again. The episode ends with a brief recap of what the next episode is going to be about, and then we pause on this beautiful landscape with Fujiko staring very dramatically out while playing what I'm assuming is her theme. In The Mystery of Mamo, we hear a cover of this while she is riding a motorcycle to meet Lupin to pick up the Philosopher's Stone. Going into this, I wanted to see if the Castle of Cagliostro was the rule or the exception. However, after watching this first episode, I see how faithful the Mystery of Mamo is, while the Castle of Cagliostro is a very big exception. The animation style fits a lot more with the show. The characters are pretty much the same as well in the Castle of Cagliostro. It's a lot more toned down, and the animation is cleaned up just a little bit more, which is weird because they didn't have as much time to work on this as they did The Mystery of Mammo. But it could be possible that maybe they were just limited to having to look like the original show, rather than trying to strike out on their own. In ways, comparing the show to the movie reminds me a lot of what they did with Sherlock Holmes. They had movies and they had shows. And what I find amazing about both of these properties is that somehow the show and the movie are both able to tell very compelling stories while keeping the integrity of the character. In both circumstances, though, I prefer the movie. While it is nice that we get these mini adventures, I find that you're able to put a lot more twists and turns, as well as adding a bit more character when you have a longer, fleshed out story. Kind of crazy. I thought with The Mystery of Mammo being a movie, maybe the standards would be a little different, so they could be a little more risque, do a little more violent things, do a little more sexual things, but no, they did that right in the show, actually, so that's very interesting. So far, I'm having a lot of fun. Although it is a little disturbing to think how many civilians died because the Scorpion wanted revenge. But still, though, it was quite a bit of fun. It's like The Mystery of Mammo itself. The idea that you got these, at their core, fun adventures, just kind of followed by some imagery and some themes that are not kid appropriate. Well, until next time, keep having fun.